Hello and welcome to the Balanced Body EXO Chair in Service. My name is Portia Page and I'm coming to you from Roseburg, Oregon. I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about the EXO Chair, give you a little information about how easy it is to set up, use, switch around the settings and use in a class setting, a personal training session, a one-on-one, or a workout for yourself. We will also be doing a short workout after the infomercial, if you will, about the EXO Chair. So let's get started. Here we are, EXO. EXO means exoskeleton. That's what it stands for. And if you can notice from the sides of the chair are cut out so that you can see the inside. The beauty of that is that it makes it lightweight and easy to move around. It weighs 36 pounds, and as you can see, it's easy to move around. There is a slight indent here on the chair seat itself, which makes it quite nice to come up to against with your thighs. Then you can use your core, which we know all about, right, in Pilates, to lift the chair and easily maneuver it around your space. I wanted to do a quick circle like that so you could see exactly what I'm talking about. The really wonderful thing too about the EXO Chair, along with being this small footprint in whatever studio space you have or living space, this is a studio, literally a very small room, yet I have sufficient room to move the chair around to where I need it or want it. It does have a wider seat to sit on, which I really like. I just like to have that room to maneuver around from one side to the other, or even maneuver front or back on the seat itself. Again, lightweight, easy to maneuver, and super simple to open up and put right to work. I am going to turn it one more time so that you can see the back end. And this is the cactus that houses the springs. You'll notice that it's a double-edged cactus, meaning that it has two of the prongs on either side. There's 4 on each side. The lower the setting of the spring, the lighter the resistance. Higher equals heavier. That's how I always remember it. So starting from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, lower lighter, higher heavier. And again, we've got both sides, and I am working with an EXO Chair that has a split pedal. Turning it back around towards the side in front, you'll notice that there's the dowel. I have both springs on so I can remove the dowel and use it as a split pedal. For the workout that I have planned for you today, I don't need to remove that, but just know that it's super easy to remove. Make sure though that you have a spring on both of the pedals or both parts of the pedal so that when you remove the dowel, one doesn't collapse to the floor, or both in that matter. So here we have lightweight, simple to set up, comfortable padded seat that you can sit on, comfortable padded pedal. And you'll notice that the base also has the cutout, so you see the floor beneath it. Again, this makes it lighter, easier to maneuver, and transfer around your living and or studio workspace. The base itself, as I push this down, I'll use my foot since I have 2 springs on here. You'll notice the paddle goes just beyond the base. One thing to be cautious of is that you make sure you keep fingers and toes outside of this base area, especially when the pedal is being moved up and down. So that means you as a client and or you as a student or you as the teacher. Let's move on to the other features of the EXO Chair. I'm going to get to the slastics in just a moment. What I want you to notice is that here I'm going to step inside. You see the eye bolts here. This is the front, the side of the pedal. We have 2 eye bolts, so they're the same on each side. These are the top front, bottom front, and then there's 2 on the back that you can see here bottom, back. So that makes a total of 6 eye bolts. Inside this wonderful little container or bag that has the Balanced Body logo, let's open it up. It's like Christmas, right? Or a birthday or something fun like that. And let's take out the resistance. Aside from the lightness of the machine itself and the ease and compatibility, if you will, with any level of understanding of Pilates equipment, this chair comes with an addition. You'll notice there are no handles, which are on like the combo chair, and they can provide nice support. Yet the slastics, I'm going to pull one out here. This is the light resistance kit. You can tell it's light because it has the yellow side coloring. Both kits, the blue is the heavy resistance kit. Both of them have a red, and I'll go over that in just a moment. Each kit though, this is the light, as I mentioned again, will have 2 short and 2 long of the same color. For the heavy resistance, a reminder that it is the blue. This is the light, so it is the yellow. You'll notice at the end of each of the slastics, there are the carabiners. This means that I can attach one end to one of the eye bolts, one of the 6 that are on either the front top bottom or the back bottom. Or I can attach, since this loop dropped, I'll use this, either the cotton loop or a neoprene handle. With each resistance kit, you also get 2 of the loops and 2 of the neoprene handles. That is the full complete set. 2 long yellow or blue, 2 short yellow or blue, 1 long heavy red in each of the kits, plus the 2 straps and the 2 handles. The other end would take on the either loop or the neoprene handle. I am going to take that off for just now. Going back to the resistance kit, the feeling of the slastics is similar to tubing and or a band. Now a band is slightly different. A band will be long and flat, and it will be continuous resistance. The tubing though tends to be a little bit heavier, might not be the right word, but it's just a little more dense, if you will, when you're pulling in and out, but it works much like the band. The tubing is inside the wrinkled black area that covers, protects, and houses that tubing. It keeps it safe from harm, from getting cut or broken, if you will. These are tubes though, so we want to keep them this way. You don't want to expose, or if you see something exposed, then you'll want to make sure that you don't cut or tear the tube inside, because once that's broken, the whole thing does need to be replaced. All right, moving on. These slastics provide additional resistance. Obviously, with the loops, it makes sense that those would go on the feet for certain positions, and the neoprene handles are wonderful to hold in the hands. Now, the chair offers many different starting positions. What I want to do with you today is begin a more traditional beginning with the seated double footwork, meaning we're going to be seated on the seat, a somewhat heavier resistance, although I'm going to keep it on the lighter end, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But I want to be able to work both legs at the same time, and then a single leg with the same weight. Now, the slastics in this instance are going to provide an additional assistance, if you will, and something to guide the distal proximity of where your hands or your feet are back in towards your center or core. The reason for this is that when we reach the arms out, sometimes we feel we can feel a bit untethered. What I love about the slastics and tubing and bands in general is that makes a connection point to something far away from your core and brings it in towards the center. This can be a really great feeling for providing support and an upright posture from which to move from. Shall we get started with the workout? 2 more things I want to tell you about. One, you notice from the back that there are 2 springs. Those are both heavy. So they can go to either side of the cactus, and I can attach one or both of them at the same time. When I change where on the cactus that spring goes, watch the petal. I'm going to take one off just to leave it off of there. Right now I have it on the second up from the bottom. So cactus number 2. And you'll notice the distance between the petal and the seed itself. So when I move this, I'm moving up to 4. You'll notice that this space stayed the same. This is really critical to understand and to know, because this space is going to stay the same no matter how low or high on the cactus that the spring is attached to. This does help you with programming, understand tightness in the hip flexors and the proximity of the petal when the feet are attached to it to the seat itself. This will make a difference in the very first move that we're going to be doing, which is our seated footwork. Let me bring this back to where I had it before on the number 2. I am going to place the second spring on. The second thing I wanted to talk about, and I'll turn it a little bit so that you can see, are the cotton tabs. These actually help us to switch out the spring by pulling and using that as your target line to move the spring. What you do need to be cautious of and careful of is to make sure that you don't attach the actual cloth tab to the cactus. Instead, you want to make sure that the metal ring or the hook side attaches to the actual cactus itself. This makes it safe, and it will ensure that it stays on the cactus and does not come off. Or in the case of the cloth tab, if you have that on this cactus, it will eventually wear and tear, and it will loosen up and possibly break in half, which means when you put pressure on here, the petals will go slamming down towards the base itself. There we have the anatomy of the chair. A review: wider, comfortable seat, padded pedals. There's 2 because I have the split pedal. The EXO chair does come in a single pedal version too. There is the pole to keep the pedals together and moving as one, even if you only have one spring on there. Here is the base, this part that sticks out here. Here is the cactus on the back end, and then we have the 6 eye bolts. This is the back where the cactus is located. The front is where the petal and base are located. Super simple anatomy. Super simple even with the additional resistance kit, the slastics. Again, light or heavy. Light will have the yellow and red. Heavy will have the blue and red. And with each resistance kit, which is sold separately, you get 2 short, 2 long, and 1 red long heavy spring. So there you have it. Those are the contents. I'm going to take, actually I'll leave that on. I'm going to come behind it as I showed you before, set up the chair so that it's in the middle here, and you can see the space. I want to show you from the side, not only the spine and my position, but this will move us in through the workout. Let me talk a little bit too about the setting. I said that I have 2 on 2. That means that's the second from the bottom. It's about a medium resistance. If I was to use my arms, it's going to be quite heavy. If I'm using my legs in a seated position, it will be sufficiently heavy to be able to push and get some work in the legs and also work on my standing posture. I am going to now set up these slastics. As I told you, I'm going to pull these out one by one. Here I have a short one and a long one. You can see that. And again, another short and another long. I am going to take these short ones, place one end on the upper front eye bolt. Oops, make sure I get another short one. There we go. On the bottom front, I'm going to take the long yellow. On either side. And the one red that is long and heavy, you can see here the length of it, I am going to place on the bottom back two eye bolts. You can place any of these in any position that you want. So they're interchangeable. I can take a yellow, put it in the back. I can take a red and have it on one side or over the front. You'll see how I use this elastics to help stabilize, provide support, as well as create strength in the limbs. The two handles I'm going to place on the long yellows and send them off to the side. We'll be using those later. The neoprene handles I will take onto this short elastic that's at the top, and you will notice that there is this space between the eye bolt and the base of the seat itself. Look at this. Great little storage for that neoprene handle, and it's ready for me to use when I'm ready to use it. Let me place the other one on, get it into position, and we're ready to move. How about that? Let's get into a short little workout that's going to work your entire body. Again, I am going to start in a more traditional starting position, and that is seated on top of the chair, the seat itself. And I'm going to place my heels on. Now I want to scooch myself way up close. Here's a perfect example of if I had tight low back and hip flexors, it might be really hard for me to come at the front edge of the seat, and I would have to maybe push back. And then I'm not going to get the full range of motion because the seat will stop here at the thighs. So if that's the case, you can always sit on top of a sitting box or something to raise your bum off of the seat itself. That would give you more range of motion, and you can move back and more into the center. I am going to come right up to the edge. This I find helps me to find an upright position and really strengthen my spinal extensors. Again, I don't have a particularly heavy weight on there. I'm going to take the hands by the sides, gently hug in the side of the chair, and give my legs a little press, giving that a test. And I'm going to move this arm because we want to make sure that the low back is not moving as I'm pumping and pressing the legs. Now this is a really great place to start. Super simple, but yet very informative. If I see the client pushing back like this, I know I might have a little too much weight on there, and maybe my hands need to come here to give a little support. Yet, wait a minute, I've got elastics. Let me see what I can do with these. I'm going to grab them out of their little holding place, soften the elbows, bring my arms out in front, put a little tension into them. As soon as I push up a little bit, what I feel is this connection along the side of my trunk that helps to root the sit bones down and lift my head up right through the ponytail that someone is pulling me gently up towards the ceiling. And then from here, my arms feel much more plugged in towards the sides of my trunk. Now I'm going to lift the arms up as I press the legs away and stay in this slight little pumping range of motion. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is a backpack. I'm going to pull those elastics around, widen the elbows a little bit, and now as I press the legs down, reach the arms up, bend the elbows, bend the knees deep. Using that exhale to press and reach at the same time. One thing you need to keep in mind is that the tops of the shoulders will get a little overworked if I stayed in this position. So I want to make sure that I provide different actions. I like this one with a elastic coming over the top of the elbow, giving me some internal rotation and resistance in a lateral raise. That's what I call getting a lot of work done in one movement. I'll go ahead and stop there. I am going to take the elastics, cinch up on them, because now I want to come into a slight lean in this position. I'm going to hold the arms out to the side, lower than my shoulders. That will make it a little less tense on the top of the shoulders. And I'm going to move onto the ball of the foot. Now my goal is to keep the thighs parallel with the pedal pressed down partially. And I'm going to hinge forward and reach the arms out, feeling the sides of the trunk work. Now from here, it's just about dorsi and plantar flexion of the ankle joint. A little harder than it might look. Now I can start to move the arms independently or together. Small ranges of motion. I can even go back to more of an upright position. Seated up tall again, backpacking the elastic over the edge of the arms, coming into a goalpost position. And from here, I will push down and press one arm up and then release. Other arm. One arm overhead press as I push through the ankle joint. I am not pushing with the thigh, keeping the pedal or the thigh parallel and just pushing with the ball of the foot. I'll make myself even. I want to do one more set, right, left. Woo! Now my arms are definitely warm. My legs are warm and my ankles are warm. Now, moving on, palms up this time. I'm going to go into a little bicep curl, not a big one. I'm not going all the way in. I want to bring the elastic right to the elbow joint so that it's straight up and down. And I'm going to press with one leg. With the ball of the foot, I push the pedal and reach the other leg long and then bend. Press, bend, press, bend, press, bend. One more press, bend, and switch. Woo. And 5, 4, this leg's a little weaker, 3, 2, 1, and release. Ooh, that does get that connection right back into our trunk, doesn't it? Placing these right back into their little slots. Now, moving on to seated side. Moving on to a little mermaid position. There is a lot of leg work, single, double. I can split the pedals. I can do all kinds of things. I'm going to let you experiment with that just a little bit and move on to another position. I want to work around the chair. Now remember, I have 2 on the number 2 cactus. I am going to take one completely off. Let it drop down. It'll make a bit of a clunk because I didn't quite want to reach all the way back there. And I'm going to set myself up so that my outside left leg is captured around the end of the elastic. And I'm pushing to the rear edge of the seat with my right leg over the side. Now from here, I'm going to reach back behind me and take hold of the elastic with my left hand and just bring that hand over towards the hip. So I'm getting this hand into position. I could also leave it there, but let's be efficient about our time and about our transition. So I have the left hand ready, placing the right hand onto the pedal. I can reach over into my mermaid position, and I'm going to now, whoops, all that sound was the sound of the carabiner over the little eye bolt there. When it gets hooked underneath, because remember the carabiner is quite long, it can snap kind of back up into place when I pull the elastic around. And because I can't see it, I didn't know to fix that. It fixed it on its own. No need to be alarmed. It's just a little, the machine is fixing itself, if you will. Now, I've got the left hand palm facing you, elbows slightly in front. I'm going to feel the slastic along my spine, which for some you might think would be annoying. I'll tell you why I like it. It keeps me honest with my movement. So if I'm hinging forward, I'm going to feel more of the strap. If the arm is going back too far and out of the range of the movement that I really want it to go in, that's safe and effective, then I will feel nothing along the back. I want to make sure that my trunk is square and that I can reach the pedal and then move into a side bend. And I'm going to bend the top arm and keep the pedal arm straight. And I get this wonderful side bend and work. The outside leg, instead of being untethered and sort of lifting and doing its own thing, is now tethered in and controlled by that long red slastic below me. And that makes me feel a lot more safe, if you will, because I'm not going to go woo and maybe lose control. I would never do that. Well, I guess I might, but there you go. So lifting up tall, making sure that the ribs are stacked, hips are stacked, and then I'm going to reach. And here I would do about 10 of these because they really do feel great. Holding the last one, I'm going to bend and straighten out the bottom arm, getting a little bit of arm work for the bottom arm while I hold the stretch overhead. I can even take the top left arm more over and then bend. So I'm making this little butterfly shape and adding these movements in together. This feels absolutely wonderful on my left side. I feel like I'm getting work on the right, stretch on the left, and it's combining to make a balanced trunk. I'll do one more and hold this position. Now I'm going to let the toes of the left foot lift just a little bit. So just the ball, the big foot is there, and then, or big toe, and then I'm going to press away, holding the side bend, and now pressing both arms in each direction, pulling the chest forward and the head back because I felt myself go away from that slastic again. We'll do two more. Woo! And then I'm going to come up for a relief. From there, I like to move into the bottom leg now. I'm going to stay on the side, pulling the slastic up to that bottom thigh. It's going to anchor this side of the hip all the way on to the chair for some side leg work. Starting with the hand in the neoprene handle and holding onto the chair top. Finding myself where everything is stacked, lengthened, long, and I'm in the right position and length here. Legs are together. I'll pull the toes back to the shins to dorsiflex, and I can start with a simple hold. You'll notice the pedal is slightly lifted off the base. I have not hit the base. This is an option to find stability. I prefer the hover because then it works both sides. Woo! I'm going to keep the hand here, and the slastic over the hips, again, is like a seatbelt for me. And then I can lift and lower, holding my balance, holding the hover. We'll move into leg circles. I'm going to only do 3 in each direction because I do want to show the other side and some other exercises. So I've done my 3. Now let's add the arm lifted and the arm pressing. Still the pedal is hovering, pointing the top, flexing the bottom. Now I can lower and lift the arm. Arm lowers, leg lifts. Woo! Talk about side body work. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm going to come into a little lift and then back into the side and a little lift and to the side. 2 more. Lift to the side and lift. Ooh, boy, did that ever work. This hip, this rib. Talk about working your slings. It's a really great one. We've got more, but I'm going to show you that on the other side. From here, I'm going to slide in the left leg. Now we've again got both legs in. I've got slightly a back edge position to you. Grabbing the other. Now you notice how the carabiner is going that way and yet the slastic is coming this way? Since I've noticed that, I'm just going to swing it around. This makes both sides, once I fix this one, the same length. Sitting myself right onto the edge. I like the feel of the slastics around the thighs. It makes me feel connected to my feet, which are on the floor. I can lift up the heels if I'd like, pressing down through the balls of the foot, just to add in a little resistance there. I've backpacked the slastic over the edge of the arms, made a little goalpost. Hinging forward, I can work on just the sit-up and the hinge. I can lower and lift the heels. I'm keeping the spine straight, not rounding forward. 2 more. Now I'm going to stay. Reaching one arm, bend. The other arm, bend. Reach, single arm overhead press in this hinged over position. Now I'm going to start adding reciprocal movement with a little side bend in this forward hinge position. 1 more set to each side. This feels really nice on my back. Now I'm going to come up. Tall seated position, lower the heels, lift the elbows and drop the hands. Lift the heels and switch. Here now, I'm getting work in the rotator cuff. Slight resistance because I'm feeling the slastics pull on, lifting and lowering the heels. Ooh, and I'm going to take a bit of a break now because that can get to be quite much. Now let's go to a little grounded position. I'm going to bring the hand more into the top of the loop edge. The neoprene handles are facing in. This is a bit like hug a tree. Lifting the heels one more time, I'm going to bring the heels together and drive the knees out into a little V. Now from here, I'm going to hug in and then open up. Hug in, and you might not be able to see it, but I am really working these muscles along the side of the trunk. 4, and I'm pressing the knees out, pulling the heels in, and 2, and 1. Now, pressing the knees out, I'm going to open the right arm, come back to center, and now the left, and we'll do 1 more set. And release. Now, I'm going to move to the other side because we have to move to the other side, and then we're going to come on to our belly. What I want to do is start with the side line first, and then you would move into the mermaid. Time-wise, I'm just going to go over the sideline so you can see the back edge of the body. Setting up the same way, I'm going to reach the slastic over the hip again. I do not need the front one, so I will place it back into its little holder there. Eye bolt and bottom edge of the seat. I've got my bottom leg hinged in, and now I hover the pedal. You can see the straightness of the back. Resituate, I'll start with a few leg lifts just to make sure I'm in the right position. I can even lift the leg, and as it's lowering, bend the elbow. So this is something that we didn't do on the other side. This is great to work this opposition. And I still haven't used the top arm yet. Let's play. Reach and resist, arm up towards ceiling. Feel that connection to pedal that's off the base. Arm reaching towards the ceiling. Now let's go for a kick. I'm going to start backwards though. Reach the leg back, point the toes, and now kick forward. I'm going to allow the right arm to reach back in opposition, and then reach forward and back. Ooh, that's the arm I'm talking about. Now the leg goes back, the arm goes forward. Here we are in our traditional sideline kick. And it is tough to keep the pedal hovering. I'm even allowing the bottom leg to move a little bit in opposition to the top. And this honestly really feels quite good. I'm going to add a circle of the leg and then reach back and lift. circle of the leg, reach back. One more time, kick forward, reach. Woo. How do you like those sound effects, right? Restack the legs, pull the toes back, rotate through the ribs, bend the elbows. I've got that elastic right over my waist. Push, reach, open. Want to see that again? Rotate through the ribs, keep the hips stacked. Now, once I get to the point where my fingertips are almost at the pedal, I bring it up. And then I can reach and circle the arm all the way around. Oh, that really does feel great on the side. And the mermaid would be a really nice addition, but we're going to move on because I don't want to run out of time. I am putting this back. We would finish with a mermaid. I am now going to work into my prone position. I am going to start here. I want this elastic pulled taut. You notice how I'm pushing back into it. And what am I setting up for? Well, it's my favorite movement, a push-up. Love the chair seat top because it gives us a nice angle. I've got the heels up. I feel resistance on the back of the calves. I'm going to bend the elbows, lower the heels. The elastics might ride up, but they won't go all the way. And I'm doing a little push-up, also a heel drop. And we're going to just do about 200 more. You know that I'm only kidding, right? I am the one doing them, so I really can't tell if you are, so I would not want to be the only one doing these. So this is the last one. Sit back, feel a stretch. Now the band is pulling me forward, but I am pushing back. This is a really lovely way to stretch the trunk, the hamstrings, and just the entire body. Now I can tiptoe forward, still the one spring, and then come into my prone position. Woo! Now I feel really supported, and if I go into my swan, it's going to be a much more full body, because when I come down here, I won't be tempted to break. Do you see the break at the stomach and the pelvis there? So I'm actually going to move a little bit more forward and really reach back through the straps. Now, normally I point my toes, but I'm going to flex them to keep them really active in the legs. And then notice how wonderful the swan looks, because swans are not all that easy for me. And this just feels really supported and really lovely. Now, let's add on, shall we? I am going to take this front elastic, cinch up. I'm not using the handle. One arm now, nice and long through the trunk. I'll point my toes now away. As I come up, I'm going to reach the arm and hold it there. And now I press the pedal. Single arm press, arm held out with a elastic, and you would do the other side. Now, what I am going to do is slip just my right leg out, leaving the left because I want to do opposite arm to leg. Now, we will feel, ooh, there we go. So you see that my right leg is free. It's just the left being held there. And I could split the pedal too, but I'm not going to at this point. Instead, I'm actually going to grab the other elastic. The reason I took the lower one is I want to have some room to be able to move the arm. So now, and I'm going to be using that loop in just a moment. So what I'm going to do is rotate. I'm hovering the pedal, opposite arm to opposite leg. I'm rotating towards the left with resistance as my right leg lifts in opposition. You'll notice the pedal is hovering. So let me show you some movement there. Woo, I'm going to bend arm and leg. Bend arm and leg. So my right arm, my right leg. Woo, and that was plenty. Let me take a little bit of a break. I'm going to push back, and from here slide the leg out, and from here I can do some spine stretch, bringing my thighs right up into this little indent here, scoop, coming to flat back. And this feels really nice after the swan. And one more. And rotate up. And we move on. I know we didn't do everything evenly, but this is going to give you lots of ideas for your classes, for your sessions, for yourself. I am going to move the whole thing back. Let me show you another kind of nice thing. Is with this long red, I can hook it onto the cactus temporarily. This way it keeps it out of the way, and I want to move the chair back because I want room this way. You'll see why in a minute. Might even need, I'm not that long, but I don't want to get hooked up with the window and the blinds there. I'll release this because I do not need it right now. And now I will put this back so that it's ready to use when I am ready to use it. And the next series of exercises is going to be the standing leg pumps and the roll down to the push-up. I'm going to combine them in a slightly less traditional way because we will eventually get into the scholastics. Starting without the scholastics so you can get the feeling of the movement first, and then see how the scholastics and that resistance aid, assist, and challenge you at the same time. Leaving on the one spring on the second cactus, I'm going to stand with my arms out and pick a foot up, keeping the low back in position. And now I can do my single leg pumps here. So you can see that normally if I had handles, I could place my hands here for support. Here I don't have handles. I'm not using scholastics, so I just have the arm out to the side. One thing that I like to do here is, again, keep the thigh parallel and work on my ankle strength and stability in both legs. This is much easier when you have some type of support. Wasn't quite ready for that. There we go. So now, two more. Finally going to redeem myself and then release. Now release, I'm going to reach forward, capture the pedal, and now push the leg back. And then round up, capture the pedal, press the pedal down as I rise up. Let's do that one more time. Capturing the pedal, this is stretching for the back, balance on one leg, and then single leg press back. Now, this is the action and movement sequence that we are doing. Let's see what we can do with our scholastics. So again, short yellow, top front. I've got them both untangled and out. Actually, this one, do you see how the carabiner is coming around the bottom? So if I just do that, it unhooks, it gives me a little bit more length. And if I do the same thing on the other side, there we are. Now, I can get a little bit of resistance and assistance in holding my body upright. This also means that I have to step back just a little bit, or I need to cinch up. I'm going to cheat this a bit, step back so I feel the resistance, and I can even do standing arm work here. Chest expansion. I can also sit, squat, and chest expand. Bicep curl. Chest expansion with a chair. Bicep curl with a lean. Now, one caveat. I am on carpeting, a little thicker carpeting, so you'll notice the chair did not budge. If you are on wood, linoleum, tile flooring, you will want to have some type of a sticky mat or sticky surface underneath each of the four corners of your chair so that the chair will not slide, because the resistance will pull the chair, because remember, it doesn't weigh a lot. And if you get even the heavy resistance kit, it will slightly pull toward you. So I'm just giving you full disclosure, on a thicker carpet, it's not going anywhere, but you'll want to make sure that you secure it. I like to use the shelf liners, maybe just give them a little cut, or you can use, Balanced Body has a little mini mat, which if you use 2 of those, one on either side or lengthwise back front, that'll hold it in position quite nicely on a slick surface. So here we are again. We've got our chest expansion. I can do bicep curl with my squats. I can even heel lift. Really nice arm series that you can do right here. Now, let's go back to where we were with our leg press. Notice the difference. This is going to make this much tougher. So I am going to turn the palms to face, draw in the low belly, press and reach back, and then return. Now I'm going to pull out and do opposition. So as I come in and release the tension, I push, release tension on the pedal, pull. Whoo! Yes! And I can also work just the ankle. Press, press, press. Now not only am I working this leg, but this leg is working on its lateral stability through the hip. Let's add on. Now it's going to be a little different than what we were doing before with the pedal press, but I have the leg press with the arms, releasing that, reaching and pressing back. Now I'm going to let this strap go right over the top, and now I can press and reach out with this arm. Now I'm getting resistance, and that's helping me leverage the resistance and the balance on this right leg with my left leg lifted. Now, I'm going to bend the elbow and the knee. 2. I'm keeping my right arm reaching out. 1 more time. Now, as I come up, find the pedal, lift, release. Woo! Now, press and reach, press and reach. Oh, 1 more. Now, again, you would do all of that on both sides. Since we're here and I've made this little turn, let's do some side work. Instead of going fully to the side and off to the side, I'm going to go at a slight angle to the chair. Reach both hands into this top loop. And now as I press, rotate and come in. 2 more. 1 more. And release. Now, yes, there is a ton of other work that we can do. What I would love, and we would love at Balanced Body, is if you got an EXO chair and played the day away with different variations and different ways that you could use the Slastics and the EXO chair to suit you and to suit your clients. What I've just given you is a full and complete workout. I did take my time, a little different on each side, and sometimes in this last instance especially, I only did one side. Keep in mind that you obviously want to keep the workout balanced, but this is a plethora, a variety, a huge bag of tricks, if you will, to play with over the next several months, even into the next year, with different choreography and sequences that you can do for yourself, for your clients, for a lifetime. Thank you so much for joining me, Portia Page, and Balanced Body with the EXO chair from Balanced Body in service. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, week, or whatever time of day it is where you are. Thanks for joining live, and thank you for joining the feedback, or thank you for joining the streaming video. Getting my terminology all mixed up. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to Joy, Joy, at Pilates.com. My name is Portia, Portia, portia.page@pilates.com. You can reach me there, or portiapage.com on my website. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day or week, and we'll see you the next time.